Hello and welcome back. Thank you for tuning in. It's something that I often mention, and it seems like most of the time it's right now at the very beginning of a conversation. But what you're doing right now is incredibly important. And I hope that you get that. And you may have just been scrolling through YouTube and discovered this and clicked on it, but there's a reason why you did, if that's the case. There's always a reason why we're here. There are no accidents at all. There are no coincidences, and there's a reason why you're here. So you'll know what that is when you hear it. And your dedication, your commitment to your spiritual practice is the absolute best offering you could give anyone, anywhere, anytime. And nothing even comes close to that. So I hope that you get the importance of your being here today. For that, I thank you. I really do. Now, we're continuing a thread of conversations about truth and faith and setting the goal of every situation in life as truth and how that benefits you. You may rightly be asking with all of these videos, not just this one, but each and every one of them, yeah, what's in it for me? Well, awakening. I mean, ultimately, what else? Along the way, we see things differently as our perception becomes completely transformed, completely transformed. You may have discovered this, whether you're a course student or not, in your spiritual practice, in your journey, that things that once bothered you immensely, they once made you angry, or use worse language. I'm sure you can imagine. It did that to you. It made you irate. And you might, after spiritual practice for whatever time frame, encounter the same situation and have it not even register, not bother you at all. That's a really important benchmark here in the world where we discover that we need to have benchmarks. It's really important. That is one of the ways that we prove to ourselves the truth of these teachings. That's the best way to learn. So, this conversation today, and indeed, you could say this about all of them, this conversation is completely about putting the ideas that we're going to talk about into practice in your daily life. It is your experience that demonstrates their truth. It shows you, it proves to you that the ideas that we're discussing and talking about here are true. Do they sound really simple? Yes, they are really simple. What's very important for us is that we understand that we introduce all of life's complications ourselves. Truth is so simple. It simply is. We add all of the drama. Think about it. We do. We add all of the guilt, the fear, the sense of dread and trepidation, the anxiety, the sadness, the depression. the combat, the warfare, fits of rage. We add all of that. Practicing this course is about acknowledging these things as they come up and forgiving and releasing them, letting them go. It is in this way that we transform our perception, that we learn to see things as they really are. When we've done that completely, when we've turned our upside down perception right side up, in other words, when we see things as they really are, truth dawns of itself, naturally, instantaneously, and automatically. That is what we refer to here in the world as awakening, enlightenment, liberation, yeah, realization of God in some spiritual traditions. So, whatever you want to call it, it's that. So along the way, we encounter some very powerful practical ideas. Set the goal of every situation as truth. Every situation. Every situation, when you think about it in life, whether it is as simple as making a telephone call or answering an email, or whether it's our intimate relationships, our relationships with friends and family, yeah, business relationships, any kind of thing, whatever it is, we're invited to set the goal of the relationship, set the goal of the situation as truth. Invite our inner teacher, the Holy Spirit, in. Let him run the show. Set the goal of every situation as truth when you start it. And then our job is to simply let our inner teacher run the situation and not to interfere. That's our job, not to get in our own way, not to interfere. It is this that is meant when people in different spiritual traditions say, let's get out of our own way. Yeah, we think we have to run everything by ourselves. And well, how's that working out for you? Are you experiencing the peace of God and nothing else? Or do you find yourself judging and blaming? Right. We're invited to hand over control of every situation to our inner teacher, the Holy Spirit, or you are welcome to call the Holy Spirit whatever you wish. Whatever you call it, it's just a name. I mean, when we really think about it, there's no point in losing sleep about what you call your inner teacher. You may call it by more than one name or use any of the pronouns that we here in the world have devised. You'll find that on these videos, I frequently say it because the Holy Spirit's not a person. It's not a man, nor is it a woman. It's part of our mind that will point us to truth. That's what's going on right now. Our inner teacher is pointing us to truth and showing us what to do. And really, really powerfully is inviting us to set the goal of every situation as truth. The goal for this situation is truth. Holy Spirit, or whatever you want to call it, please enter. And then we step aside. And we continue to practice this over and over until it becomes habitual. Oh, and when it does, yeah, you will never see things the same way again. That would be impossible to see them the same way. Doesn't mean that little fits of judgment and trepidation won't creep in. They will, but you'll be able to recognize them instantly for what they are and return to peace. Setting the goal of truth calls forth faith automatically. It calls it forth. Yesterday, we talked about faith. In fact, that's the last video. The title of the last video is Truth and Faith. Setting the goal as truth calls forth faith automatically, which is huge because our job is not to interfere, it's to relax and trust the guidance of our inner teacher. So it's very important that setting the goal of truth calls forth the faith in our inner teacher immediately. Now, understand this if you're newer to A Course in Miracles, the Holy Spirit, this inner teacher that I'm talking about, is not an outside power. It is not an outside force. It is part of our mind. So rather than giving your power away, you're in fact accessing it. And it is greater than you could possibly imagine. If you've begun to do this habitually, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. And my hope is that you'll know exactly what I'm talking about, and the sooner, the better. It's in fact beyond words. I mean, here we are using words. I mean, this pixelated image is using words in a language that we all can speak and comprehend here on this spinning ball of rock. And that's no accident, by the way, right? I mean, you're here. So we're all invited to just do it. Just do it. Just try it. Put this into practice. Setting the goal of truth calls forth faith automatically. By the way, faith and peace are intertwined. Peace results. And because the Holy Spirit is in charge, every miracle that needs to happen in order to meet the goal of truth is going to happen. And there's nothing that you have to do about that. Your inner teacher handles all of that. Everything falls in line for the goal of truth. Every situation, every relationship, if you prefer to look at it this way, is simply a means to accomplish the goal set at the outset. So this is very, very important. Everything falls in line to accomplish the goal that we set at the outset. If your goal is illusion, if your goal is to get something from somebody, or if your goal is to take something from somebody, you simply reinforce the idea of separation. And in this kind of abstract context, it's very easy to see how harmful that can be. Yet, this is what we do all of the time. So, this course invites us to come right back to the mind and set the goal consciously, deliberately, as many times as you remember to do it. Set the goal as truth. Everything that happens in the interaction, in the relationship, in the situation, becomes a means to accomplish that goal. Does that mean you're going to get what you necessarily want? Say it's a business deal. But not necessarily. However, you can rest assured that The Holy Spirit, your inner teacher, knows all your needs. And as long as you appear to have them, like money, like friends, like valuable relationships in this lifetime, and food and economic opportunity, things like that, as long as we appear to need these things, the Holy Spirit will, in fact, supply that need. How can we say that for sure? Well, that's a great question. We have to do it, and our experience proves it to us. That is a heartfelt invitation to put this idea into practice and do it as often as you remember to do it. It's always worth taking a look at our lives and seeing them as a meditation practice. Doesn't mean you have to spend 24/7 in full lotus posture meditating. Yeah. In fact, if you've got to go to work today, go to work today. Don't spend 24/7 in meditation, please. Okay. What this means is we're invited to take a look at our lives and consider the traditional instruction of a meditation practice, where we place our awareness, our attention, in other words, our mind, on a certain thing, like the breath, like an object. It could be to the sound of a guide if you're doing a guided meditation. It could be something that you visualize, whatever the specific instruction is. That's all a difference in outward form. The content of it is exactly the same. When you notice yourself carried away, bring your awareness back to the object of meditation. So, in daily life, in the middle of your job, in the middle of a commute, running errands, paying bills, checking email, going to the bathroom, cooking dinner, whatever it is, all of it. When you notice yourself blaming, when you notice that you don't feel wholly and completely joyous, bring your awareness back to forgiveness. Bring your awareness back to your relationship with your inner teacher and start over. Just reset. Set the goal of the situation as truth. Anything that's not wholly joyous in our lives is, in fact, an opportunity for us to forgive. So we forgive what's appearing on the surface out there. Forgive, release, set the goal as truth, and rinse, repeat as often as we remember to do it. So this is like a living, breathing, waking meditation or mindfulness practice. That can be a handy way to approach it, because that's what we do in life. Because you're going to put this video down and maybe get bombarded with email, or maybe you have a list of dozens of phone calls to make today, or whatever the case may be. Set the goal as truth. And when you notice yourself distracted and carried away, you'll know it because you don't feel good. Now, bring your awareness back to the present moment. Bring your awareness back to your relationship with your inner teacher. It's very powerful. And even though, again, we're using words to talk about it, that's all we can really do. That's all that pixelated image on your screen can do, is point. In fact, that is all any spiritual teacher anywhere can do, is point. Each and every one of you must walk the path. That's how it works. And you might wonder, well, why, if the Holy Spirit knows everything, which of course he does, why doesn't he just wave a magic wand and enlighten us? Or why doesn't Jesus just swoop in and make us instantly enlightened? Well, when you think about it, we're the ones that are having this dream of separation. So, in this comes a sense of skepticism and paranoia, frankly, because we always, when we assume we're an individual, we automatically assume that everyone else is an individual and that we're all out to get each other. So, why should I trust what this thing's saying? I mean, you may find yourself saying some variation of that, which is perfectly normal. I mean, it's what we've all been conditioned to act like here in the world. And with that being the case, it's easy to harbor a sense of skepticism and a sense of deep internal questioning about how do I know if this is working? That's a really good question. How do you feel? That's the question. That's how you tell. When you genuinely set the goal of a situation as truth and you invite the Holy Spirit to run the show, you'll find if you really do it and you really don't interfere, which can be tempting, of course, but recognize that temptation, forgive the ego, hmm? Forgive whatever it appears to be that's making you uncomfortable. Forgive and release it to the Holy Spirit. If you do this often enough, you will find yourself relaxing into the situation. But the Holy Spirit won't wave a magic wand because that would hardly be doing you any favors. I mean, really, he wouldn't be doing us a single favor if he just wiped the slate clean. Because what would happen is we didn't go through the practical work of changing our mind. We're the ones that are dreaming that we're separate individual self-sustaining survival units. So we're the ones that are dreaming it. We're the ones that must wake up from it. The Holy Spirit knows all of this separation is not true, but because we still believe in it, he uses things here in the world, including the world itself, to show us the truth of union, of perfect oneness. He's using this to reach you. He's using this device, this medium, this communication medium called the internet, YouTube, to reach you. And you're here and you're paying attention. And once again, I cannot emphasize the importance of that enough. I simply can't. Understand that. It's huge. So you're setting the goal of every situation as truth is huge. And it's what we're all invited to do. So along the way, questions are inevitable, aren't they? I mean, they are. They most certainly are, and they're more than welcome here. Spirituality brings it all up. And we find that in order to awaken, we can't keep all of our little drama and our little stuff. Substitute another word that starts with an S for stuff. Yeah, that. We can't keep that hidden. We've got to bring it to the light. So, as you bring all of this to the light, questions are inevitable. Feel welcome to ask them here. And thank you to those of you who have recently reached out with questions. What I frequently do here is with some questions, it's very, very handy rather than typing out a really lengthy answer. It's really handy to simply record a conversation or two or three about that topic. So I'm more than happy to do that. If you have something that is a pressing present moment question or concern for you, I'm more than happy to help with that in any way I can. So please feel welcome to ask me. Okay. And thank you to those of you who have recently subscribed. It's an international community, which is really cool, isn't it? It's growing. And if you have not yet subscribed, please do that. This is the prompt in the corner of your screen here. Just click that arrow and you'll be invited to subscribe and join us. Several videos appear each week. And again, I really, really appreciate your taking the time out to listen to the message of the Holy Spirit today. And you're invited to continue to listen to the voice of our inner teacher for the rest of the day. And then I will see you back again here on the next video. Thank you.